Tuesday, March 31st, AD 33. Having spent the night again at Bethany and back at Jerusalem the next day, Jesus is confronted by the religious leaders at the temple. They resent him. In their eyes, he's still from Nazareth, a backwoods town with no significance. He's still young, 33 years old, and he's uneducated, a true nuisance to the sophisticated, well-learned leaders. He had caused quite a stir the day before when he had cleansed the place, and now he was on a collision course. So they approach him to press him for answers. They want to know by what authority he is doing the things he does. These are the religious leaders. You would think that they would have some idea of the Messiah by now, but in their blindness, they do not. And Jesus never answers their questions directly, not like a typical politician trying to sidestep, but as one who has so much to teach these blind guides. He tells them parable after parable, and they still don't understand. He even gives them hints of his own resurrection, and yet they still don't get it. And later that day, out on the Mount of Olives, right outside the walls of the city, Jesus gives extended teaching to the crowds and disciples gathered around him. I mean, can you picture this scene? Can you imagine being there, sitting on the hillside with the city of Jerusalem as your backdrop, and standing right before you is Jesus, and he's laying down all this teaching, and little does everyone there know that in just a few days, inside the walls of that city, this Jesus, the Son of God, is going to be condemned and murdered. I mean, what an ominous feeling if you were there. And we've seen the zeal and the righteous anger of Jesus the day before, and we see it again here on the Mount of Olives when he announces 7 woes or curses on the scribes and Pharisees for being hypocrites. They don't practice what they preach. They lay heavy burdens on their people, but they themselves won't even lift a finger. But we also see the heart and compassion of Jesus, as he gazes over the city and weeps for her. That here she stands as the holy city chosen by God to be a light for the nations, and yet she's been compromised. Over the centuries, God had sent her prophet after prophet, and she would not listen, but instead killed them, and now God was sending her his final prophet. Back in the city, the leaders were devising a plan. They needed to get rid of Jesus, and as chance would have it, the chief priest had a stroke of luck when Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus' friends, walks in the room.